Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of LabGab. This is a podcast series that has been gracefully sponsored by SS White, the oldest dental manufacturer in the country and perhaps the world, at 178 years now. Many people are shocked to find out that this company has been there that long. And my role with them as a consultant has really been to help introduce them to an industry that they've serviced since almost the beginning of time. Older technicians like myself are well aware of this company and the quality of their products, but not so much the most recent generations because they've been buried in catalogs. And so we really want to highlight the fact that they do a phenomenal job and produce outstanding rotary products. My guest today, I am so delighted to have Kaila Nakanishi join us. The Nakanishi family and I personally go back many, many years, as Dave Nakanishi was a founding member with your laboratory of the Dental Resource Alliance Group with Drake, where I spent 30 years and got to know Dave really well. And what a brilliant man. Kaila, welcome. So happy to have you.
Thank you. I'm super excited to be here and chat. And thank you, SS White, for giving us this platform to be able to get together and for really good burrs. So
thank you. They like hearing that part. So let's talk for a second about the fact that you're third generation and how that's going. You've got tremendous depth of technical expertise and knowledge in that laboratory, but tell us about your role and what you're doing these days.
Yeah, so I started as the receptionist early on after college, actually. My degree is in interior design, nowhere related to dental technology. And started in the laboratory, worked my way into the model room. I basically just filled empty seats. If someone needed help, I was over there learning the process. And that's when I really kind of got sucked in, and I found ceramics to be fascinating. Started in stain and glaze, loved that, found that I actually had a really good aptitude for it. And I started to really find the industry super interesting. People find it funny, my sister and I really had no clue what our father did. We had zero clue about the laboratory. Most people just assume, because we're third generation, that, we grew up in the lab, that we were sitting there at the bench when we were little. No, people would ask me in high school what my dad did, and I'd be like, oh, I don't know. He makes teeth. Like, I don't really know. So it wasn't until after I graduated that I started to really learn the industry and figure it out. And so I started to take over the all ceramic department. That's when I got my CDT in ceramics. And then I really saw this great need for digital technology. We're lucky that we were relatively early adapters of digital technology, but we still were not utilizing it to its fullest potential. So that's kind of where I started to latch onto. And that's where I found myself now, is running our digital department, if you will. So I oversee all of our equipment, milling. I'm constantly testing new products, building new workflows, trying to get as much of this digital technology and digital processes down, not only for us internally, but also for the client side. So that's one of my big passion points, is really working with dentists on their intraoral scanners, figuring out what's the best protocol, the scanning protocol for them, for which case, really diving in with them, because that's where there's a big lack of knowledge on their side, is how do I even scan this? How do I set this up? What do I do? And I want to make sure that when they have that patient in the chair, they're only scanning it once. We're not asking them to bring a patient back in. So that's one of my biggest things that I'm doing right now that I really love, and where I found that I'm very valuable at right now.
Well, the customer service aspect of that is just beyond anything we've ever been able to provide. Mm-hmm. Your laboratory, like Drake, we were partners in crime in the sense that we were really well based in science and education. Mm-hmm. And that's how that's how we built both of our businesses over those years. And the clients today more than ever need guidance from us.
Yes.
And the new model with digital workflow, with the doctor scanning intraorally and us producing restorations digitally, we all know the accuracy level goes through the roof. The problem is that at times the doctor and staff are a little intimidated and the machines sit. And so what you're doing is exactly what I'm telling my young developing clients. that have laboratories that are many of them second generation as well, is that they really need to take the lead in being the training resource for those offices, along with the rep from the company, to really get them comfortable and get them up to speed and be there for them. And I think the laboratories that really embrace this and move forward in that manner, in the way they operate their business. Clinical education is important, assistants especially being well trained, but just getting people comfortable using the technology, because it opens the sky as far as the quality of the work and everything that happens. So kudos on that. And I know you're having fun with that.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing how much of my day is spent on the phone with clients, and they're just wondering what to do and how to use it. And they always remember, even if I'm just a middle person to get them in touch with whoever is their service provider, they remember that connection point, that communication. So it's a really great place to be.
Yeah, you make yourself invaluable, and that's what we're all working every day to do, so that we're not so highly focused on a price.
Exactly.
That's not the way you operate, and it certainly is not the way that I operate.
No, we're definitely not here for that.
Yeah, and you're in a group of common thread people that we share, and that is Blake Barksdale. I know that you're communicating a lot with young Blake. They are a relatively new client of mine, and Blake is just a ball of energy. He is a very, very bright young man, and I look at you and it makes me think of him and the relationship that you and a number of your contemporaries are building out there on the web and mutually supporting one another. I have just about every client I have is a second generation rising owner and a successor in the laboratories. And I really feel fortunate that the people that you're succeeding are so blessed to have that, because it gives them great comfort knowing that all that work that they did for all those years is going to continue to carry on. So it's exciting stuff. So tell me about your relationship out there on the web as far as chat rooms and communicating with folks. You seem to be very active in that space.
Early on, I was not as much. I'm really a true technician, very much an introvert. I would prefer to, sit with headphones on the bench and stack porcelain. But as I started to grow in my role in the lab, there was so many days where I sit there and be like, how are other labs doing this, especially when it comes to digital technology? And I would go up and talk to Megan about it and just, I don't understand, what are these people doing? Because I am having this error. I'm doing this isn't working. This is giving me this error. What about this? Has anyone tried this? It's just a constant, well, what do you think about this? And Megan, she doesn't know much about the technical side. So she was never able to really troubleshoot stuff with me. But what she's great at is the connection side. So she started to put me in touch with other people. And I started, especially on the Facebook groups, reading the forums there that were super helpful. But really it was that our connection through the DRA was one of the main things that got me hooked up with Blake from Barksdale and Thomas from BNR. And that's been a big game changer, is having these other people that are in a similar situation. There's no other industry really like us, these custom medical manufacturers, right? No one else is out there. So you kind of have to find these similar people. And even if our labs aren't the same size, I'm nowhere near Blake's size, and I don't have the implant knowledge that Thomas has, but we all bring something to the table, and we're able to sit there. We text every day. It's weird if we don't have a text message or some form of communication in a day. So it's just a beautiful, beautiful way to build these connections with people. And it really creates some sanity in my mind, because I know other labs are dealing with the same thing I'm dealing with. They're, going through, like you're saying, succession planning. Hey, how are you guys handling this? What are you doing about this? What are you going to do? So it's nice to have those other people that understand where you're coming from. So I think it's super crucial to build these connections.
There's no question. It's very impressive to me. Back in the day before we had all this technology, we were having to get in the car or on a plane and go somewhere to exchange ideas, and very infrequently at that. Tremendous amount of power in exchange of information, and it just accelerates the growth of our adaptations of technology, as well as in just improving the quality. And like you said, we're not in this alone.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
So I understand you're heavily involved in training in your laboratory. You want to talk a little bit about that?
So I'm sure, a lot of labs are in the same boat we're in. COVID really changed it for us. When COVID hit, we had quite a few established technicians decide to retire. They were close to that retirement age. It was not a fun time to be working. So they decided to go, to Florida and enjoy the sun and get away from it all. And so we found ourselves really hiring a ton of new staff. And I think we brought on about at least 15 new people to the industry. I mean, no industry knowledge at all into our laboratory. And we are PTC laboratory. I know you like PTC. But that was really for developing full technicians. I needed the basics. I mean, we needed mesial, distal, tooth numbers, the basics. So I spent, since COVID, really creating these training programs. We call it NDLU, Nakanishi Dental Lab University. And it's basically a couple courses that all of our new staff will come on to and go through these classes. And it's teaching terminology. It is teaching all of our products that we have, why a dentist would prescribe it. It's teaching then not only industry specific terminology, but our laboratory specific terminology too. We all call something work tickets, worksheets, all different things. So we make sure that everyone is on the exact same page of how we operate as a business, how we operate as an industry, and then just the products that we create and how they're created. I mean, it is basic stuff, but it is so important. And these people, they absorb it like a sponge. People want to learn,
Absolutely.
They want to advance their knowledge. And I have this wonderful group of guys in my digital department that they're constantly trying to use these terms, and they have little a score sheet up on one of the boards, and they give each other points when they properly use a terminology, or they'll take a point away if someone doesn't use it correctly. And it's this constant game. But they're so proud of what they do and what they've accomplished. So it's been a really exciting, we tried to make it really fun. They get an acceptance letter, like all this really fun stuff that just builds pride and excitement around the class. And so my next focus is doing more advanced courses. And then that's probably going to start pulling in more of that PTC training. So it's been really exciting.
Yeah, well, for me, PTC was a means of me getting basic terminology and basic anatomy in place.
Yes.
And building on that. But there's no question, and you have a bit of a regional advantage in that you are in Bellevue, and anyone that doesn't understand the absolute immersion of technology in your backyard.
Right, yeah.
I don't know what rock they've been under, but you have a ridiculously large talent pool, but you also have a very high average wage.
Yes.
Because of the level of your economy and the level of wage that these mega billion-dollar companies that are taking up 10, 15 blocks in Seattle.
Yeah.
I've
We've
been
got
there
the Google
times.
campus right next to us, Amazon, everything. Yeah.
I love the region. I've been there many times, and it's just a beautiful place to be.
Yeah.
But geez, what a lot of really exceptionally smart people,
Yes.
So you have an advantage, but at the same time, you really have to get these people up to speed fast to make them satisfied with their wage.
Yeah.
And that's been all of our challenges, but kudos to you. And I know you're enjoying that work.
Yeah. It's been really fun.
Outstanding. Well, I want to thank you so much for being with us today. I see the crib in the background. I don't know how much that will make the final cut, but I'd like to say, because as we were talking about earlier, Jessica Burrell was on with me last and talked about her first acronym behind her name is MOM. And it stands for mom. And you're living a very similar life and balancing and juggling work-life balance. And I'm really proud of you, and I'm proud of your family, but I'm especially proud for you in the fact that you're achieving that balance, and especially at the pace that your laboratory operates. It's a lot. It's a lot. And guys don't always appreciate that if they're not directly involved on a daily basis. And I hope more and more of us are going forward, so there's more balance between spouses and partners as well.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations to you. And again, I look forward to seeing you soon in one of these meetings where we actually can be in the same room, right?
Yes. Hopefully very soon.
Yes, absolutely. But thank you again so much for being with us today. Please give your dad and your sister my regards.
Yeah,
And I look forward to seeing you guys soon.
perfect. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.